attacked here. Here's Carmelo. Got it!
Hard to the basket.
Carmelo Anthony with the game winner!
Carmelo Anthony is known as one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. The man was practically unstoppable. Melo is a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He won 3 Olympic gold medals, an NBA scoring title, and is placed 12th in all-time points. Yet, if you ask him, his greatest accomplishment as a basketball player came before he entered the NBA, during his epic March Madness run with the Syracuse Orange. So let's rewind and recognize just how good Melo was as a teenager in college. Coming out of high school, Melo was hyped up as one of the best recruits in his age class.
Carmelo, he's a modest fellow, and this is how he says hello.
Growing up in Baltimore, he was pursued by major programs like North Carolina and Maryland. However, his dream was to play in the state of New York, and he ultimately committed to Syracuse after his junior year. As a senior, he transferred to Oak Hill Academy, one of the most prestigious basketball programs in the country. There, he became a McDonald's All-American. For most of the year, he and Amari Stoudemire were duking it out as the top-ranked player their age. Difference was, Amari wasn't planning on attending college, nor was Lenny Cook, another prospect who dropped out of high school and didn't have the grades to play in the NCAA. So most scouts ranked Carmelo as the best freshman entering the NCAA.
Carmelo Anthony beats the double team, House led by 16 at the half.
He was joining a program in desperate need of talent. Jim Boeheim had turned the Orange into a formidable program since he took over as the head coach in 1976. He regularly took Syracuse to the NCAA tournament and even made it to the final twice in '87 and again in '96. Yet he had never been able to win a title. But in 2002, the year before Melo's arrival, Syracuse missed the tournament entirely. No doubt, even with a star freshman on the roster, it was going to be an uphill battle. Entering the season, Syracuse wasn't ranked in the top 25. Aside from Anthony, the team's second and third best players were both also underclassmen. Sophomore power forward Hakeem Warwick and freshman guard Jerry McNamara. It didn't take long for Melo to prove that he was going to be an impact player.
The kid has got the whole package. He can go inside, he can go outside. He can score in the baseline, he can take it to the goal. And he's got range with the jag. He's flat out a diaper dandy superstar.
In his debut game against Memphis, coached by John Calipari, the freshman phenom went off for 27 points. However, Syracuse lost the game, and it was clear that work was going to need to be done. Syracuse went on to win their next 5 games against mid-major programs. Their next opponent from a power conference was Georgia Tech, a team that was also led by 2-star freshmen, Chris Bosh and Jarrett Jack. This time around, Melo and the Orange handled business.
A lot of people think that a freshman could take the leadership role, but I'm trying to show them this year that I can do it.
Syracuse continued to glide, extending their winning streak to 10 games, including 2 wins against Big East opponents, which led to a mid-January matchup against 11th-ranked Missouri, a game which Anthony led Syracuse to a 66-69 victory, earning the Orange their first appearance in AP poll as a top 25 team in the nation. Syracuse didn't stay there for long after losing to Pittsburgh 1 game later. However, in a rematch on February 1st, they edged out a 2-point victory, once again earning a ranking that they would build on through the rest of the season. Thanks to incredible play by Melo as well as contributions from the rest of the squad, the Orange climbed the rank throughout the year by beating Notre Dame twice, knocking off Michigan State, and holding their own in the Big East.
Lead pass for Anthony. Look at the ball control. Oh, what a finish by Carmelo Anthony.
By the end of the season, Carmelo Anthony was well recognized as the best freshman in the country. In fact, most analysts ranked him as the top player in the country regardless of age. Melo was averaging over 22 points and 10 rebounds to end the year, but he got snubbed by the committee for the Naismith Trophy, which instead went to TJ Ford of Texas.
Andy Katz came out with a top 5 ranking of freshmen, and Carmelo wasn't on it.
The Orange finished the regular season with a 24-5 record going into Selection Sunday.
The number 3 seed in the East, the Orange Men of Syracuse.
The best player in the country will be playing for Syracuse.
You gotta buy Carmelo Anthony.
As the 3rd seed, Syracuse handled Manhattan in the first round of the tournament. However, the team came out flat in the second round against Oklahoma State, led by Tony Allen. Syracuse was down 6 points at halftime, but they turned up the volume in the second half. The comeback victory led them to a Sweet 16 matchup against Auburn. another team that they handled with relative ease. Syracuse ended up winning the game by only 1 point, but they held the lead throughout. Carmelo Anthony finished with a team-high 18 points. The win gave Syracuse what was thought to be their toughest matchup against the top-seeded Oklahoma Hoosiers out of the Big 12. Though they didn't have any NBA prospects on the team, they had a guard named Hollis Price who was a lights-out shooter. But Oklahoma was no match for the Red Hot Orange. Carmelo Anthony scored 20 points along with 10 rebounds in a blowout victory, leading the Orange to the Final Four. Syracuse matched up against another top seed, the Texas Longhorns, led by TJ Ford, a point guard who beat out Melo to earn the Naismith Trophy as the top player in the nation. For that reason, Melo made it his personal mission to prove that he was the brighter star. Despite struggling with back injuries, Melo had the game of his life.
Anthony with a new career-high 31.
He finished the game with a season-high 33 points and 14 rebounds on lights-out shooting, an incredible performance on the biggest stage.
Boy, you've got to love the way this young man plays.
Which led to a finals matchup against the star-studded Kansas Jayhawks. Jerry McNamara came out buzzing. The freshman guard hit 6 3-pointers to push Syracuse out to a wide lead. Kansas fought back, but Carmelo Anthony continued to score buckets at will. Late in the second half, Hakeem Warwick had the opportunity to close out the game from the free throw line, but he missed the second half of his 1-and-1, giving Kansas one last chance at a 3-pointer to tie the game. Hakeem Warwick made amends for the missed free throw by using every inch of his length to block Michael Lee's 3-point attempt from the corner to secure the win. As we know, Carmelo won the Final Four's Most Outstanding Player award. Rightfully so, Melo might have had the greatest March Madness tournament of any freshman in NCAA history. He ended up getting drafted 3rd overall by Denver, becoming an all-time great scorer and a Hall of Famer. Anyone who claims that Melo wasn't a champion has got to dig a little deeper, because his March Madness run was legendary. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to Sports Insight. See you next time.